So good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Campus Education Society, Dr. Arvind Bitalang, Institute of Webinar Coordinator, takes this opportunity to welcome you all here for today's IQSC webinar. Second, on immunity boosting and pandemic COVID-19. I would like to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Chandrakala Mannaru, MSc, PhD, Associate Professor and Head Department Food Science and Nutrition, SNDT College of Home Science, Karve Road, Pune. She has completed her PhD Food Science and Nutrition from SNDT Women's University, MSc Food Science and Nutrition from Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Andhra Pradesh in 1987. BSc Home Science 1985 from Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Andhra Pradesh in 1985. Postgraduate Diploma in Foreign Trade from Symbiosis Institute of Foreign Trade in 1996. Certificate in Recent Trades in Food Analysis and Quality Control under Food Law from CFTRI, Mysore in 1996. She has altogether 28 years of teaching and research experience at SNDT College of Home Science, Pune. She has received Young Scientist Award in 1991 from Nutrition Society of India, members of statutory academic bodies. Chairperson of Board of Studies in FSN SNDT Women's University, Mumbai, 2010 to 2015. Member of Academic Council and Faculty of Home Science, SNDT Women's University, Mumbai 2000, Board Management, SVT College of Home Science, Mumbai 2014 to 2017. Member of Board of Studies in Home Science, Savitribai Phule, Pune University from 2019 onwards. She has also research guidance, recognized PhD guide for SNDT Women's University. Currently, one student is working for PhD. Guided 57 dissertations of MSc Nutrition and Food Processing in Maharashtra. She has outreach activities, organized diet service, nutrition education in the community and training programs for NGOs. Also extracurricular activities, life member, Nutrition Society India, Indian Dietetic Association, Home Science Association of India, of India. Initiated 2 self-supporting programs in the MSc Nutrition and Food Processing, PG Diploma in Dietetics. Welcome, ma'am, to the webinar. I would like to also welcome Vice Principal Neeraj B. Mokale, MGV IHM City, Nasik, one and all for today's IQSC webinar second. Now I request our Honorable Principal, Dr. Rai, to say some few words.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
Really sorry that we bit late in start because our host is here and guest speaker is at a distance. So coordination is a little bit a problem. But anyhow, now I think we've got connected. So not making much of time, we'll start this immediately. Madam
I will be speaking
is
here.
a scholar in the
Call
field of
is
nutrition,
Hello.
and our challenge of this COVID right now, because everybody is looking for solution, and our humanity is in danger. Worldwide, we have seen the situations are
Hello.
getting worse
Can you hear
and
me?
worse.
Hello.
And right now, we have only one panacea or solution to this COVID-19 is
Hello.
only that we have to immune ourselves. Then, what exactly COVID-19, how it is associated to increase our immunity to survive, that's our main agenda. That is the only solution right now we have. If we immune ourselves as per against the COVID-19, we can expect we can survive more till we vaccination. The vaccination when is going to have, we don't know. But I will only advise you that please take down the all important points the madam is speaking about. I think I have very briefed the madam about what exactly immunity, how to get it, how to boost it, and that all keeping in mind against the COVID-19, which is a totally unknown virus, and people are dreaming and they're trying hard to get things here and there. But be concise, the madam is here to guide us about the immunity and COVID-19. So I think Saurabh, over to Saurabh. Let us start immediately because we are too late. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hereby, I request Dr. Chandra Mandari ma'am to guide and explore us on our today's topic.
Next slide. We all are going through a very difficult situation, COVID 19 pandemic. So similar incidences had taken place earlier. Many incidences were there. The most important or very similar one was that Spanish flu influenza pandemic, which had occurred in 1918. So you can see these pictures, which will tell you the situation is similar to what we are going through. Emergency hospital during the Spanish flu influenza pandemic. It was in Kansas City, and here you can see it was this thing. And here you can see the nurses preparing their masks, okay, to prevent the spread of this influenza. So I just wanted to remind how it was, and then this is not a first time we are facing this. Such pandemics were there earlier. More than 10 pandemics were there in the history. So in this present situation, we don't have any medicine which can cure or we can prevent this COVID-19. Very new situation. So there's no medicine. A lot of research is going on to prepare some new vaccine. Whatever earlier information we have. So for the new vaccine to come, it will take quite. But meanwhile, what should we do? We have to see our immune system, how it is, and then we have to make our immune system good so that we can face the infection, whatever, and then keep ourselves safe. So now, just to refresh everyone about this COVID-19 symptoms, I'm sure that everybody is aware of these symptoms, how this infection takes place, and then what are the symptoms. Every day in the newspaper, in the TV, the news is completely only about COVID-19. The newspaper used to be full of many other, no, previous slide, full of other items, but now it is only COVID-19. See, this usually doesn't affect everyone in the same way. Only 80% of the patients have mild or some of them may be asymptomatic also. And how it happens, see, this coronavirus, once it enters from the positive patient, whoever is close, who staying close to the patient, or maybe when he sneezes, yeah, coughs, through the droplets, it will be passed next person. So how it travels to the through our openings are there, unconsciously we may be touching our face, so it will enter our respiratory system and respiratory system. to travel. And when we breathe, what happens? During breathings, alveoli inflate and deflate, during which there is an exchange of once the COVID has entered, what happens here? Hello? Coronavirus enters into our respiratory system and it will cause inflammation in the alveoli. Then experiences this, shortness of breath or breathlessness. That's how the symptoms, occur. And fever is another symptom which happens because of the fight between the, this antigen and antibody, the virus and the antibodies produced in the body. So these are the various symptoms. These are the different types of immunity we have. For the convenience, it has been classified into different types. One is innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is like what we get by birth, whatever we have. Okay, that includes different organs, tissues, and the cells, like skin and all. Plus, we also have this mucus, stomach acid. They also take care in the first step itself. They will try to prevent or fight against these microorganisms or virus, whatever. Mucus keeps it away, and our stomach has very strong acid, that is hydrochloric acid we have, that is so strong. Some of you must have worked in the science lab, must have seen how strong it is, hydrochloric acid. So our stomach, it is required for the digestion of the food, so that also takes care. Now then we also have enzymes in sweat and tears which will also act against these microorganisms. Then the second type we have is acquired immunity. Again, this is two types: active immunity and passive immunity. Acquired immunity is like your body develops whenever there is an infection. That is the acquired immunity. So what is active immunity? That is again natural and artificial. So the natural one is whenever there is a infection coming into any microorganism or virus, then the body will develop antibodies to fight against it. That is a natural process. Whereas artificial one is like we use vaccination. You must have heard about various vaccines. The polio vaccine is there, MMR is there, that is mumps, rubella, and measles, hepatitis. So these are the various vaccines we have, which are given usually for the child when the child is born in the beginning itself, so that the child will not get any of these diseases. So those vaccines were developed. Then the second type you have is passive immunity. That is, we get it from somebody. So again, there are two types here, natural and artificial. The natural one is like, you get it from the mother's milk. When the child is born, the breast milk is so good, it is very rich in anti-nutrients. And the WHO recommends that the child should be given exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months at least, because the reason is that it is rich in antibodies and it gives a passive immunity. It lines, it coats the lining, the gastrointestinal tract, so that the child is healthy, the immune system is developed properly. And that is the reason the child, when he is breastfed, he is less likely to suffer from any infections, is more healthy compared to the child who is given any other milk formulas. The second one is the artificial one, acquired immunity. This is basically the ready-made antibodies are given to a person. So already, so that can fight against the infection. Now the latest you must have heard about this plasma therapy. So people are using this technique. I don't know, we have to see now how successful it is. Some people are able to come out because of that plasma therapy. So that is the latest one. You are giving from a person who was infected and already who has recovered from this infection, because the body must have prepared the antibodies, and those you are trying to give little bit to another patient so that the patient will get these antibodies ready-made. Yes. So this is about the adaptive immune system in a very, very brief way. We have these macrophages. You can see these are the cells which will grab this germ, whatever the microorganism which enters, it will take it, capture it. Now what are these macrophages? These are the cells which will be again moving in the whole body, throughout the body. whenever there is some infection, then they are just, formed over there. They're not readily available. Whenever there is infection, they are just formed, and then they will take action against this microorganism. So first thing what they do, they just grab this germ, and then they show it to the T cells. Now what these T cells do, one side, so they can also kill these microorganisms, and other side what they can do is they again show them to the B cells. So the B cells will make a number of copies, and then that will actually release the antibodies and fight against this whatever the microorganism. That's how this adaptive immune system works. So for this, again, you need to maintain the immune system in a very, very good condition. Yeah. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide. These are the factors influencing the immune system, so that will weaken the immune system, so the chances of infection are increased. So like you can see a lot of factors over here. First thing is about the diet. The poor diet, that is deficient diet, the many nutrients, if they are deficient in the diet, that can also weaken your immune system. So that could be either micronutrient deficiency or energy, protein, or whatever reasons, due to poverty or ignorance, whatever reasons, the poor quality of the diet will lead to a compromised immune system. Apart from the dietary factors, you can also see here smoking. Then if a person has allergies or excessive alcohol consumption, or you are exposed to bacterial infections, then suboptimal nutritional status, already I've discussed. Then prolonged excessive exercise. Now exercise, moderate exercise is good, but if you have prolonged or too much of exercise also will weaken the immune system, which is not good. Okay, then change in the temperature, then sleep disturbances and deprivation. So sleep is very, very important for the immune system. During the sleep, the body recovers. It has to have sufficient number of hours of sleep. So if a person is not getting enough sleep or deprived of sleep, then the immune system is affected. Then chronic stress, not the temporary, but the chronic stress can weaken the immune system. Then there could be also genetic reasons where autoimmune diseases are there. The body's immune system itself will become very weak, and then it can be attacking its own system. Those are autoimmune diseases. Then air pollution. Every day we are exposed to so many pollutants that can also weaken our immune system. So all these together have increased, can weaken the immune system and increase the risk of infection. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, the same thing, whatever I have explained you can see here. Drinking and alcohol, then unhealthy food habits. Next slide. Unhealthy food habits, you can say. Then obesity, and if they have any other chronic diseases, you can see here chronic diseases, lack of sleep, stress. Aging is another factor, where usually with the aging process, the whole body and the organs will the functioning will be little reduced. Even the immune system also becomes little weak. So these are the various reasons. Next slide. Which will weaken the immune system. Yeah. Now finally, we'll see now how to maintain the immunity. As I was telling you, there is no boosting as such. So we have to keep our immune system in a very, very good condition, so that it is strong and it has good defensive mechanism. So what are the factors which will help you to maintain good immunity? The most important thing is balanced diet. What do you mean by balanced diet? The diet which gives you all the nutrients, like you have different nutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, different vitamins are there, different minerals are there, fiber, water. So these are all the various nutrients. So a balanced diet gives you all the required nutrients by the body in the required amounts. Now, how do you get it? By having various food groups, which I'll be just discussing later. So by having all the 5 food groups in a proper amounts will give you a balanced diet, so that will give you all the required nutrients. So we have to have a good diet to maintain your immunity. nothing else. No medicines can help you boost your immunity, or no other supplements will boost your immunity. Then correction of nutrient deficiencies. So we need to maintain a good nutritional status. If somebody is suffering from a particular nutrient deficiency, then what happens? The immune system, again, it is active because of certain nutrients. It requires certain nutrients for its activity to be in active state. So if there is any deficiency, again, I will be discussing this in detail. So then the immune system will be affected. So which are the nutrients which will help to maintain the immunity? That is vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin C. Then protein, iron. I'm going to discuss all these things in detail in the next slides. Okay. Then zinc and selenium. Apart from that, gut microbiome. In our intestine, gastrointestinal tract, we call it as GIT, there are a lot of microorganisms are there, bacteria are there. Some of them are good, some of them bad. There are more than 1,000 species of these microorganisms in the gut. We call it as gut and gut microbiome. There's a big environment over there, and all of them are staying there. So they are actually, as I told you, some are good, some are bad. The good ones are, help us again to build up the immunity. There are like vitamin B12 and all is synthesized by these good bacteria. Whereas, the balance has to be maintained. The good and bacteria have to be balanced properly so that everything is fine. Your GIT is in a good condition. Then physical activity, stress management, and sleep. We will discuss them in the further slides. Next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Yes, ma'am.
So we will be discussing about the dietary guidelines in a very, very brief way. This is called food guide pyramid. It's given in a pyramid shape. You can see all the foods are there in this. There are about 5 food groups given here. Now this will give you an idea. You can see the base is all cereals are there and pulses are there. So this is actually our staple diet is cereals. We have whatever type, wheat, rice, other millets are there. So we have to consume them adequately because they give you carbohydrates and energy and protein. So we have to have them. Our body requires energy. Continuous supply of glucose is required even for the brain. If you don't take enough carbohydrate, then the brain function will be affected. So all these have to be consumed adequately. The second category here, you can see all fruits and vegetables, especially the colored fruits and vegetables. You can eat them any amount, eat liberally. There is no limit over here. The more you eat is better because they are full of micronutrients. They are called protective group. They protect you. They give you immunity. They you can say they help you in keeping your immune system strong. They contain a lot of antioxidants, then phytochemicals are there. Yeah, again, I'll be discussing them in detail. Then the next group, we have animal foods are there, then oils, fats are there. These we have to eat moderately. They are important. It doesn't mean that they are not essential for the body. They are important because they are also good source of certain nutrients. So eat them moderately, not excess. And the last one, you can say eat sparingly. All these processed foods, you can say mostly these processed foods and fast foods are rich in high sugar, high fat, then high salt, and then trans fatty acids. So it is not good. You can eat them maybe once in a while. So you should not eat too much of this. So this is in brief about the food guide pyramid. It's called. It gives you about the various foods how to be taken. Then you can also see here below, you must have seen that abstain from drinking alcohol and say no to tobacco. So those are not supposed to be there. And exercise also is given. You can see on the side, exercise was there here. Exercise regularly and be physically very active. So apart from the diet, your physical activity is very, very important, and restraining from alcohol and tobacco is also very, very important because those will again affect your immune system. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide is that about the plate, my plate for the day. The same thing, it is shown in the form of a plate. Yeah. If you see, look at the plate, previous slide, please. If you look at the plate, you can see half of it is filled with, only fruits and vegetables. Previous slide. Filled with a lot of vegetables, again colorful vegetables. Okay, they are very rich in micronutrients, vitamin A, vitamin C. Okay, antioxidants are there. No, the plate. I want my plate. Okay, so that indicates that they are important. Your half of the plate should be with vegetables, salads, and fruits, and then more than 1/4 you can say the cereals and legumes. You can see here that will take about 1/4 to 1/5 part. Because I told you they have to be taken in adequate. You can see the heading here, cereals and nutri cereals. What do you mean by nutri cereals? These are millets, like you have jawar, bajra, corn is there, and many other millets are there, ragi. Okay, so these are very rich in fiber and then calcium, iron. That's the reason now have given the name as nutri cereals. They are known as nutri cereals. So earlier, we used to have a lot of these millets. Now, in between, the millet use was not there. Now, people are going back to these nutri cereals, millets. That will add on a lot of nutrients. And then comes the other, foods, pulses, eggs, and flesh foods. They are important because they provide you protein. Then comes nuts and oil seeds. They also are rich in vitamin E and protein and essential, fatty acids. And last group is fats and oils. You can see it is given in a very small, the triangle is very small. That means they are required, but in a very small quantities. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. Previous ones, I have just shown you the previous slide. Yeah, this is about the already recommended dietary allowances, the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. Under that we have National Institute of Nutrition. They give you the recommended dietary allowances for various nutrients. So depending on the activity, then gender and age group, the requirements will vary. So they have worked out and they have given this value. So I'm just not going to give you all the values here. You can refer to them later. So I can just say in general, a man who is a sedentary, sedentary, you can say, is not a very active, like say teachers, managers are there who have sedentary work. Okay, for him you require about 2,320 kilocalories of energy, and protein is usually, depending on the body weight, it's 1 gram per kg body weight, so around 60 grams of protein. And then your other nutrients also given here, calcium, iron, zinc, and all. Whereas for women of the same type of activity, you can say 1900 calories. So man requires and woman requires little, say about 400 calories. So similar one for both the sexes. Some of them have higher requirement. So with the age also, this requirement will vary. Next slide. Next slide. So next slide will tell you about the this is in terms of calories and all I told you. So many people will not know when you say 2000 calories, but how much food to take. So this table will tell you how much from each food group has to be taken. Say for sedentary activity, moderate, man, woman, and for heavy worker, who is a lot of physical activity, who's involved in. Okay, yeah, so group wise it is given here. So for a man, for sedentary activity, for the whole day you need about 375 grams of cereals and millets together, and for a woman it is about 270. Okay, quarter kilo you can say together for the whole day. Same way the pulses, milk and milk products, okay, the vegetables, different categories are there in vegetables. These are starchy vegetables, then green leafy vegetables and other vegetables. Okay, fruits, sugar and fat. You can see sugar and fat, about 4 to 5 teaspoons of sugar and fat, not more than that, because our foods also have some invisible fat, like milk is there, nuts, even cereals will have some amount of fat which is not seen. So apart from that, these values will give you the the visible fat, which is the cooking oil, to be added in the cooking. Yeah. Next slide. Next slide. So the joint expert committee, that is joint FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, and World Health Organization. Okay, there is an expert consultation on diet, nutrition, and prevention of chronic diseases. There's a committee. They have given the recommendation that a minimum intake of 400 grams of fruits and vegetables should be taken per day. When you say 400 grams, you understand now how important it is. Nearly half a kilo. So this will, in the long run, this will keep you away from all these chronic diseases like heart diseases, cancers, diabetes, and obesity. So many benefits are there when you consume lot of fruits and vegetables. Next slide. That is also going to give you immunity. Yeah. So as I was telling you, previous slides, we have seen that excess consumption of processed foods. So once in a while is okay. If you take excess, then what happens? The gut microbacteria gets disturbed. Okay. So you can see what are the effects of this excess consumption of processed foods. You can see the control of infection will be reduced. So the infection can be, what is it? Your body is likely to get more infection. Then there is increased inflammation. The rates of cancer, the chances can increase. The allergic reactions also, and autoimmune diseases also can increase. So it's a bad effect, this processed food, because of they have a lot of preservatives are there, and other additives are added which are not good for health. So as a result, what happens when there is a imbalance here? Then there is imbalance on the gut bacteria. So the balance gets disturbed and it weakens the immune system. That is the reason. This is the relation between the microorganisms in the gut. So you need to maintain the health of this gut in a good way. Next slide. Now I'm going to discuss about, just give you very briefly about the nutrients I have discussed earlier: vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin C, and other minerals also. So very briefly, I have just shown you what is the requirement here and what is the main function of this nutrient. See, nowadays people are recommending, even the doctors are recommending, take vitamin D supplements. You can't take every day. They are available in the form of sachets. Weekly doses are there, or maybe in a month, twice a month you can take. 60,000 international units it's there. Okay, so because it's a fat soluble vitamin, it can be stored in the liver. You don't have to take every day, and that will take care for some time. And another thing is, vitamin D is available. The body can synthesize vitamin D, but how? It has to have some precursors in the body. Then when you go in the sunlight, that will help your skin to prepare this, to synthesize this vitamin D. Okay, so when you go out in the sun, your body prepares sufficient vitamin D. Those who are staying for a longer period indoors, then they may have this deficiency of vitamin D. This will affect your bone health also. It will affect your immune system. So it's very, very important for our immune system. So it can also reduce the cancer cell growth. It can help control infections and reduce the inflammation. And these are the sources. You can see all the animal foods are there: milk, fish, egg, butter is there, mushrooms. These are all good sources of vitamin D. So we should start taking vitamin D supplement. The best is, more than supplements, the food. Dietary sources are very important. The absorption is better from the dietary sources. So only the supplements should be given to those who are deficient already. For a healthy person, you should include the rich sources that will take care of it. Next slide. Next slide is about vitamin A. Yeah. Again, these are the brief functions I have given. You can see here, vitamin A is known as anti-infective vitamin because it is against infection. It can help against infection. It gives resistance to infection. It is also called anti-inflammation vitamin. And vitamin A is very important for the vision. It maintains the health of the eye. That's why for the vision, vitamin A is very, very essential. And it also maintains the health of these epithelial cells. So as long as these epithelial cells are maintained in a good health, the immunity will be in a good condition because they are directly involved in the defensive mechanism. See here. Then if it is deficiency, if there is deficiency of vitamin A, there will be keratinization, that is dryness, the epithelial cells will lose the cilia. It's like, they become bald. Cilia is the small hair it has that protects from this, entry of microorganisms. So the cilia is lost, and then this also. So now some of these nutrients, they act as antioxidants. That means they can prevent the, the formation of free radicals. They will neutralize these free radicals. That's why they are called as antioxidants. So they prevent the cell damage caused by these free radicals. So all these vitamins are supposed to be antioxidants, then anti-inflammatory, then it maintains integrity of cell membrane, vitamin E also. So these are the sources, mainly the nuts and oil seeds, they have this vitamin E. You can see various nuts, and then vegetable oils, okay, the seeds, leafy vegetables, these are all good sources of vitamin B. Next slide. Next slide is vitamin C. Everybody must be knowing now. Again, people are saying take more of vitamin C, vitamin C foods, or take supplements of vitamin C, because again, it is anti-infective and antioxidant. All these properties are there. Antiviral, antibacterial, lot of properties are there. So these vitamin C, we have a lot of sources easily available within our reach here. So what this vitamin C does, it helps to recovery from viral infections, like even common cold, simple cold also, and other infections. It reduces the severity of the symptoms, and then it helps in the recovery faster, because it is required for the synthesis of this collagen and all tissues. In the repair also, it is useful. It is required for the repair and wear and tear of these tissues. Okay, so it is considered antibacterial, then anti-inflammatory against these pathogens, and also it is required for the healthy bones and teeth, and for the iron absorption. These are interrelated. Iron also is required for the immune boosting. So even if you are consuming iron, there are many factors which will affect the absorption. So vitamin C helps in the iron absorption, the GIT, and that's how it boosts the immunity. Next slide. Iron. Yeah. Now iron, all of you know that iron is very important for hemoglobin formation. Hemoglobin is required for, it carries oxygen in the body. So if you have low hemoglobin levels, you become weak, you get that, fatigue, weakness, and you don't have enough concentration, all that. So for the hemoglobin, iron is required for the hemoglobin formation. It also boosts the immune system by stimulating the production of white blood cells and inhibits the growth of bacteria. These are all sources of iron. Mostly animal sources have good amount of iron, and it is in an easily available form. It's a better form of iron, ferrous form. Whereas plant sources, iron is there, but absorption is less from the plant sources. So you require to take more iron from the plant sources. So these are all the sources. Leafy vegetables are there, seeds are there, pulses are there, nuts and oil seeds. Yeah. Next, zinc. Zinc is also considered antiviral, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory. I have taken only the immune functions. I have taken for all these nutrients, because they have many other important functions in the body. But right now we are focusing on immunity, so I'm only pointing out to these immune functions here. Again, it is required for the growth and development of immune cells, their function, neurotransmission, vision and reproduction, and even for healthy appetite and night vision. Many times it is seen that when there is a deficiency of zinc, the appetite is affected. People will have poor appetite. So zinc plays a very important role here. That's the reason maybe even this corona, one of the symptoms now they have realized is that loss of appetite. Could be zinc will help, zinc supplementation will help. And in the natural form, zinc deficiency is usually not seen. It is very rare, unless there is some problem with the absorption. There are some factors which will affect the absorption. So those people are likely to suffer. Those are usually genetic problems. So the deficiency will lead to immune dysfunctions, susceptibility to infections, then decreased production of WBC and delayed wound healing. Next slide. Selenium. Again, this is an antioxidant, and it is also called as it has antiviral effect against respiratory infections, influenza and asthma. It reduces inflammation. So these are the sources, food sources we have: mushrooms, especially the fish, then nuts and oil seeds and all these fruits and vegetables. Next slide. Omega-3. Omega-3 fatty acids, I think this is also very important. Now people are talking, different fats are there, but omega-3 fatty acids, they have very important functions in the body, especially the immunity. So the important ones are among the omega-3 are EPA and DHA, eicosapentaenoic acid and docosahexaenoic acid. These are very, very essential for the immune system. In the development of immune system, especially during pregnancy, if the mother has good amount of omega-3, the child is likely to have good immunity. Otherwise it is going to suffer. Okay, that's the reason. And the sources are like sea fish is a good source of omega-3, and even the plant sources are there. So these are again useful. The supplementation of omega-3 is useful in case of patients with rheumatoid arthritis, or those who are living with asthma and other allergic respiratory diseases. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, gut microbiome. I was mentioning that we have so many microorganisms in the gut, which have to be, again, we have to take care of them. If there is no organism in the intestinal tract, in the gut, that will also create problems. This happens when you are given antibiotics. Many people have this diarrhea and acidity problems are there when you consume antibiotics for infections. Usually they are given. So along with that, the doctors prescribe probiotics. What is probiotic? That is nothing but the live microorganism you are giving, so that you are restoring the microorganisms, because the antibiotics will kill the good bacteria also. It cannot differentiate good or bad microorganisms. So antibiotics will kill all the microorganisms. So when you give probiotic, that will again bring back the this microorganisms. Okay, so that the gut health is maintained. Otherwise people will not tolerate this food. Diarrhea, it can result diarrhea and all. Okay, so this gut homeostasis has to be maintained. Next slide. So that's about the probiotics, which will maintain the gut microbiome. You can see here prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. Now prebiotics are nothing but this live bacteria. One example is that curd we have, and also this other commercial preparations are available, yogurt. All these are probiotics. Now prebiotics are like food for the probiotics. All these fiber foods are like prebiotics. So when we consume this dietary fiber, this is useful for the probiotics. They live on these prebiotics, and they have many beneficial effects on health. Like say, they generate reactive oxygen species, then regulate and prevent apoptosis, attenuate inflammation, and then they promote intestinal barrier function. So these are the functions of probiotics. But again, I won't recommend the commercial probiotics. These are again supplementals. Okay, or they can be like the natural form you can take, like our curd and other fermented foods are all natural probiotics. Next slide. So these are the points we were discussing earlier, which can boost our immunity. Next slide, please. Physical activity. Next slide. Yeah. So as I was telling you, physical activity plays a very, very important role. Food is on one side, and physical activity, it stimulates and strengthens your immune system, the defensive mechanism. It has anti-inflammatory effect, and exercise improves blood and lymphatic circulation. That I told you, lymphatic fluids. Okay, they remove the bacteria, toxins, and waste products, and even the cancer cells also. So some amount of exercise is very, very important. These are some of the exercises we have shown here, which will increase your, improve your immune system. Next. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. These are the functional foods you must have heard. It's very easy. A lot of people keep giving advices. In Ayurveda also we have, and naturopathy. These are some of functional foods in our Indian diets. We regularly use them. They have very, very special property. That's why they are known as functional foods. So the chemical compounds present in them will help to again boost our immunity. We have even common household remedies are there, which can be used for common flu, fever, diarrhea. So the grandmothers tips are there. So all these foods have some medicinal properties like ginger, they say, garlic, ginger, lemon. These all will improve the immunity. So we should try to include these foods in our daily diet instead of going for any medicines, medical supplements. This is better thing. In the long run, it is going to help. Next. Yeah. These are supposed to be immune boosting foods. Again, I don't want to say it is boosting. Okay, these help the compounds. They have a lot of phytochemicals present in these foods, which will help to again improve your immune system, promote your immune system, I would say. So a lot of seeds are there, like sunflower seeds are there. Okay, and then other vegetables like broccoli, then papaya, peppers, garlic, onion. These are all actually we use in our regular diet. So they are all very helpful. And I just think just a few days back in the newspaper it was there that in Pune the sale of these immune boosting plants are increasing. All the nurseries, people are going for all these things. So that shows that they have this immune boosting properties. Yeah, not boosting, improving properties. Next slide. Next slide. Whether this vitamin or herbal supplements will help. See, as I told you earlier also, we don't have to go for supplements if you have a good diet, if you're following, and if your nutritional status is good. So that's not going to do any extra benefit. Only if you are deficient, people are suffering from any particular deficiencies or any diseases, then they should be given supplements. Otherwise, it is not required. We should take the natural foods, and then that will help to improve our system. Okay, so these nutrients will help immune system. They work as an antioxidants. They protect the healthy cells, support the growth and activity of immune cells, and the antibody production also it helps. So those who are poor, and then they are easily prone to infections. Yeah, these are next slide. These are some of the phytochemicals I was mentioning. They have, these are the compounds they have in those plants. Okay, so again, a lot of studies have been carried out to see how efficient they are or how effective they are, and because of that, people have come out with those supplements. Say, turmeric is there. It has coumarin. Then lycopene is there in tomatoes. Then resveratrol is there. Green teas are there. So they have all these compounds which will have again beneficial effect on immune system, and even for weight loss some of the things are used. Next slide. Next slide. Herbal components in Indian foods. I think I've already mentioned about these things like fenugreek, mint leaves, lemon, ginger. So people are preparing kadha, or what you call it as concoction out of this. You use this, and then that there is nothing wrong in having those. Okay, that will only give you additional benefit, but usually there are no side effects of any of these herbal preparations or whatever. So we should try to include these in our daily diet. Mint leaves, pudina, that is, then lemon, lemongrass, garlic, pepper. Yeah. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so I think we have already discussed this also. Lifestyle choices to boost immunity. So the stress, you have to manage the stress, and then good food. Already we have discussed about the balanced food, include all the food groups. Then have some physical activity. Then no smoking, and have good amount of sleep, especially at least 7 to 9 hours. Okay, maybe for adults 6 to 8 hours you can say, and good sleep, that is about 11, 12 to 2:30. That is the right time where you should have a good sleep. Otherwise, then it is going to affect your whole immune system only. And then having all this. Okay, yeah, social this thing life you have to maintain. So these all will help you to improve your immunity. Next slide. These are the recommendations Ministry of Ayush. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so you can see in the Ayush website, you can see these are the recommendations previous slide. So I've just want to show you like these are the recommendation, but that includes nothing but whatever we have discussed earlier, the preparations. Okay, the herbs and all. Previous slide. So many people are following this. And then one more I wanted to share. Recently, Dinanath Hospital, there were about 600 doctors, it seems. So they were following this Jalaneti, you call it as. That is, cleaning your nose with water. You just pour water in one side and then, take it out from the other side. So that basically it cleans the whole, system. It is there in the, what do you say, some of these panchakarmas and yogas and all. They teach you this. So these 600 doctors, some of them were following this and they are good, like they didn't catch this corona. They are remained negative. So some of them didn't follow. So this is one thing positive that had come in the paper also. So these simple tips will help us to keep this COVID-19 away and then remain safe. Next slide. So same thing, Ayurvedic immunity promoting measures they have mentioned about this, milk with haldi, then tulsi with, we have masala chai, tulsi tea, even the tea is also available in the market. So this also, there's nothing wrong. They may only help you in this thing to improve nutritional status in a good condition. Have balanced diet of fruits and vegetables, especially colored, full fruits and vegetables, yellow, orange, red. All these have lot of, antioxidants are there. They have phytochemicals are there. They will protect you from any of these infections. So thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Session, whatever you have expressed us, now we should start with the session. I now questions into the chat box so that we can ask the questions.
Any
to the speaker.
questions? Hello.
Ma'am, there is a question. I would like to read it out for you. Can we eat chocolate to maintain immunity?
Shall I answer? I see one question. Can we eat chocolate to maintain immunity? Chocolate, I think that bitter chocolate, it is like, it improves your mood, they say. Not for immunity as such, it's just a mood lifter, I say. But I don't think anything is there in chocolate. You feel good. It's a feel good factor when you eat chocolate.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
There is no protective, component in chocolates. Drinking tea, coffee, yeah. See, anything excess is bad. In a nutshell, I would say nutrition, moderation, everything in moderation is the best thing. Okay, so drinking coffee, 2 to 3 is okay. Again, 4 and above, beyond, if you go, the more you have. What happens with the tea and coffee, you start taking more of sugar in that. And another thing is, with the consumption of tea, coffee, if you're taking more, then you don't eat normal food. अगर lunch के चाय पिया, coffee पिया है, then you will be missing out on your regular food intake, and then you will be losing out on other nutrients. Okay, that is one thing. And also it can give you acidity problems. That's what they say. So you should not take too much of coffee. And another important thing is, these coffee and tea have certain compounds which will bind these, some of these nutrients, like say iron, calcium. So they will bind with these nutrients and makes them unavailable to the body. So you are likely to suffer from deficiency of these, some of these nutrients, like iron especially. Plasma, yeah, I was just mentioning about the plasma. That is plasma is a component of blood. Your blood has plasma, your blood has red blood cells, white blood cells. These are all components of blood. If you separate them, these are all there. Okay, plasma is the fluid, okay, in the blood. When you remove the cells, the remaining is plasma. Okay, it's the fluid in the thing. So there are antibodies as I told you, the person who was already, been affected by this corona. So when the corona entered, the body must have prepared antibodies, and the person has already recovered. Okay, he's fine. So the body has some antibodies, and they are there in the plasma. So if you take their plasma a little bit and then inject into a patient, and then this patient is getting ready-made antibodies now, which will fight against his infection. Then. So this is working out with some people. It is again in the very initial stage, but there are some cases where they could come out of that. Yes, plasma therapy is working, but definitely we can't say at this point. Yeah, when many people are they are asking that please donate your plasma, and then people are coming ahead also to do that, like blood donation, plasma they are donating. That's a good thing if it can work out. Yeah. What physical activity recommended for children at home? Yeah, because nowadays, even the education earlier, as it is, children were busy with the video games and all the gadgets, electrical gadgets and all, watching everything, mobile phones and all. And now, because of this lockdown, again, the education also started on that thing. So their physical activity is completely reduced. Okay, so they can have small, indoor games itself. You can have that would help them. Is alcohol beverages harmful for this time? Yeah, excess anything is bad. I told you it will reduce your immunity. It will interfere with your immune system. So it's better not to have it. But again, within moderation, a small amounts is okay. Anything is not. Even a good food also, if you take in excess, it is going to be very bad. Diabetic patients, can they donate plasma or take plasma? I think it's a medical question. The doctors should decide about it. They will be able to guide. And as I told you, this is a very new area. So many things may come out of that. So we still have to look into who can donate and who cannot donate. Yeah, I'm not very sure at this point about the diabetic, but the normal people, yes, young people are donating plasma. Is there any chance to get vaccine? Yeah, there are a lot of all countries are working on this. They are doing on a fast track basis. A lot of organizations are also trying. There is a news here. Some say the vaccine is ready, but it will take about they said 18 months minimum it will take to get any vaccine, because once they develop the vaccine, they have to take trials, clinical trials on human beings also finally, so that it does not have any other side effects. It can be given safe. Without testing, if it is given, we don't know what are the consequences going to be. So unless they do all these things, the ICMR will not clear, and then that cannot be given to people. So all those trials have to be taken, and this will take that much time. It is not overnight procedure. Allergy from dairy products which substitute for a dairy product. Yeah, dairy products, usually they have lactose. Okay, lactose is a sugar which is present in the milk. So some people have lactose tolerance birth itself. Basically, the lactose is a sugar. It has to be digested, for which you require some enzymes. So these people, they don't have this particular enzyme, lactase, okay, which will digest this lactose sugar. So they have this allergy problem. Whenever they consume milk or any other dairy products, they will have this problem. They cannot tolerate, they may have diarrhea or they have bloatedness and all. So for them, what you can do is substitute is either you can go for buttermilk and all, they will not have any problem, because in buttermilk and curd, the lactose is already converted to lactic acid. Okay, lactose is already digested there. So you will not have this lactose problem over there. And other substitutes, even soya milk is there, and a lot of other milks are available now. Almond milk is there, and then many other, I think, milks are available. And best thing is to avoid this thing, because that can be a very serious issue. Instead of having that, even a small quantity, if you have a problem, even a small quantity of that can give you more problem. So it's better to avoid. And some people with the aging may develop this. Aging at a particular point of time, you may develop this lactose intolerance. So that time, it's best thing is to avoid that. You cannot do anything. Or when you take buttermilk and all, it is a pre-digested form that can be done. And you also have to take precautions that any other processed foods where there is some milk added to it, that can also cause problems. So you have to avoid foods which contain milk or milk solids, milk products into that. Yes. Spanish flu had a vaccine that is old one, isn't it? 100 years back. Yeah, and each one, there's a different. This corona also, I would say, it's getting mutated every time there are a new species coming. So the vaccines also have to be very, very specific. Many times it gets, mutated. New forms are coming. They become more resistant. So we have to wait and see them. But definitely, I think that will come out one day. Any other questions?
Any more questions?
Yeah, the vaccine is not there. Everybody is like with the previous experiences, trying all the methods. But the best thing is prevention. Prevention is always better than cure. So follow the methods which will keep you away. Maintaining a social distance, wearing a mask, and all those things. Washing your hands, again using a sanitizer. Yeah, so that is the best way to keep. And still we don't know, many times somewhere indirectly we get in touch with. Thank you so much. And what about
Any more
skimmed milk?
questions from the
Yeah,
participants?
skimmed milk also. Those who have lactose, yes. Skimmed milk is nothing but it's without fat. They remove the fat from the whole milk, which has all this. So when the fat is removed, it's called skimmed milk. But it will have lactose definitely. So you can't have those who have lactose intolerance, who cannot tolerate milk. You cannot tolerate skimmed milk also. This is only good for those who want to reduce calories, reduce fat, weight reduction ke liye. If you want to use milk, so you can go for skimmed milk, but it has lactose.
Any more questions? Now you already heard about our speaker. Even all questions are answered. Herewith, I am requesting Professor Deepak More to give vote of thanks.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. It is honor and a privilege.
Yeah, we are sorry for whatever technical problems we had, and
Yes.
I hope
Same here, ma'am. For the connectivity problem,
some
that is all
informative
because of the
session, and
network
then
problem.
thanks for patient listening.
1 second. Sir, please go ahead.
Once again, I was for this technical issues, and thank you very much, ma'am. It's not this opportunity and the COVID-19, such an important, much needed topic for our students, all the listeners. I, Professor Deepak More, IQSC coordinator, on behalf of Camp Education Society, Dr. Aditya would like to thank you for listening. And then a renowned speaker, Dr. Chandrakala Manuru ma'am, for this wonderful session, and our guidance and support principal, and all the prominent dignitaries from the institute and the industry, my colleagues, for paying good attention, and also giving the feedback with the questions. And I hope the questions are first answer. And I just give a small brief or extract of what I explained that as she started, like not to worry about the pandemic and all the factors and many that is the good word I can say to
against the boosting of immunity. Then assures us about the food pyramid, then how we have to maintain our plate, our daily plate. Anyhow, it's not every time it's possible, but we have to try to maintain our good plate so that we don't have to take any extra medicine. Then for the adults, then the WHO had recommended some experts for consultation and prevention of chronic diseases. Then the effects of excess consumption of processed food, what happened to us. Also, she gave us the nice information about all the vitamins D, A, E, C, iron, zinc, selenium, omega-3, which plays an important role. Also, she explained about the physical activity, the importance of physical activity, how we can maintain that relation, phytochemicals, carbon components, like our hormones. Then also give the brief introduction about the site. So all these components I can plug together and can say that this is a wonderful session. And thank you. Yes, I want the ending part. So thank you once again for the wonderful information, and thank you for rejoining a fourth time with us. Definitely will see you next time. And for wonderful information, you have wonderful profile also. Strong profile you have. We are very much impressed with all the content and information. Okay, thank you, ma'am, once again.
Yeah, I'm sorry for whatever technical, I think, issues we had. It never happened. I don't know. First time, it never happened.
No, ma'am, it happens. So no problem. It's because of network problem. Thank you for the interesting and informative session. Since you have guided us by all the immune points, how we should carry and follow during the pandemic COVID-19. It was really worth having interaction with you, madam. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us a brief idea how to increase the immunity during this pandemic COVID-19. Feedback link has been shared in the chat box. It will be remaining open till 6 p.m. today evening. Kindly fill up the feedback form and you will receive the e-certificate onto your registered email ID. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.